Hi, welcome back to CarsAddiction.com. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ryan and we share car-related content every Wednesday and Sunday. Wednesday is a short snippet of any car encounter I come across, and Sunday is a full-fledged video of a project I'm doing, one of my cars, or anything else car-related. Now for today, we're going to be overviewing the BMW 8 Series, better known as the BMW E31. We're going to go through the exterior, interior, and engine bay. But before we do so, I'd like to give a proper introduction to this legend. Now, this has been introduced to the public in 1989 in the Frankfurt Motor Show and produced for sale a year later until 1999. But in 1987, this car was actually ready to be put for sale. The reason they didn't go for sale in 1987 was because of the 6 Series, which was selling very well at the time. Now, at the time, BMW had a very simple range of cars. They had the 3 Series, the 5 Series, the 7 Series, the BMW Z1, and then this, the flagship BMW 8 Series. It had all the technology that BMW had, the biggest engine they had, all put in one Grand Tour Coupe to cross continents at high speed. Now, this car came in mainly 3 flavors. There was the 840, which had 2 variants of the V8, the 850, which 2 variants of the V12, and then there was the top of the range 850 with the suffix CSI. That was the top of the range 8 Series BMW, and very rare one. They only produced around 1,500 units of those out of the 30,600 total produced, so the CSI is very rare. It had extra aero, bigger wheels, rear wheel steering, and many other extras, but the most important thing was it had much more power. It had the S70 V12 engine. Now let's talk about the exterior of the vehicle and start with the front. As you can see, that the 8 Series resembles quite strikingly the BMW M1 of a decade later. Has the same small kidney grills in the front and the pop-up lights. BMW only produced 2 cars in their range with pop-up lights. It was the M1 and the 8 Series. Now this part of the 8 Series is called the nose cone. It's actually a plastic bumper. Now remember, back in the late 80s, early 90s, manufacturers were still producing cars with a bumper just was sort of thrown out there black with maybe some chrome. However, BMW went to all the detail to make it color-coded and fit in the lines of the hood and everything, and looks part of the body. And this is why this car still looks timeless today. Obviously, we have the pop-up lights. Now, the BMW 8 Series never received a facelift. They were all the same throughout 1990 to 1999. The only difference is that the CSI had a different bumper in the front. I think it had like an add-on over here. Let's move over to the side. The CSI also had different mirrors. They had the M-Tech mirrors, which were hollow in the middle, which later then were used for the 1995 BMW M3. This car had a left technology and design elements which were used then later on lesser models in the range. Now this car was completely built in CAD. I think it was one of the first cars to do so, and all the body panels are very tight indeed. In fact, the reason they built it in CAD is because the engineers wanted to reach a lower drag coefficient so that it can cruise at high speeds without any wobble or turbulence. And in fact, the wiper blades are tucked underneath the hood over here to improve aerodynamics. Now, they went so great lengths that if you actually put it in wiper blades that are thicker than usual, it will hit against the hood when opening. In fact, some of bonnets of the 8 Series have a scratch in that area, and that is common with the 8 Series. The 8 Series came with 16-inch wheels as standard, up to 18-inch wheels. I think there were around 5 wheels available. The most popular upgrade would be the BBS style wheels. The CSI had the gorgeous M parallel wheels, but my favorite ones is the throwing star wheels. If I ever had an 8 Series, those are the wheels I would have. Another difference on the CSI is that the handle over here will have the written Motorsport embossed on that handle. You can also see that the 8 Series actually carries cues from classic cars from the 60s and 70s with a pillarless design. This whole interior just opens up, which is really, really, really nice. This is the rear of the car. We have huge rear taillights which actually work with this design. The number plate, usually found in the bottom over here on other cars, has been moved over here, obviously to improve aerodynamics, so they can have a higher diffuser at the rear. The CSI also carries on a different bumper than this one. Now over here, you'll notice that there's the badging. So you either see an 850i, 850ci, 840ci, or 850 CSI. You have the 840 for the V8s and the 850 for the V12s. Now the 850 came in two flavors, the I and CI. They're actually the same kind of car. The reason is in 1993 BMW introduced the C in all their model range just to designate them as coupes. Another way to differentiate is the tailpipes. You have this squarish layout are for the V12s, where the V8s will have roundish tailpipes, with the exception of the CSI. Let's get into the interior. The 8 Series have two types of seats. These are the base seats, which are very comfortable seats. And then there were the sport seats, which will have thicker side bolsters, and they actually have a switch over here to control, to hug you more, so to speak. Now this technology will later be seen in 3 Series and 1 Series in future years, but it all started here. Another groundbreaking feature that the 8 Series had was these self-opening windows whenever you open and close the door. So if your car has it, you have to thank the 8 Series for that, because later on the technology will go down in other lesser models such as the 3 Series, 1 Series, and even other car manufacturers. To control the headlights is a toggle switch over here. And the main party trick of the 8 Series is this computer right over here. A lot of information dedicated to the health of the car and the environment, all was over here. You also have a CD changer, which obviously was latest technology back then. Dual climate control for your passenger and driver. Again, this is high tech for back then. You have an epic 6-speed gearbox for the V12, which is rare nowadays, actually never happens these days. Then you have a bunch of options that will be over here. Now this is an early car, so it won't have them, but you have traction control. Again, that was groundbreaking back then. There's another option with suspension dynamics. Then you'll have heated seats. There's also a button if you have the automatic to make it more sports, more responsive. There's another button for the rear blind controller, which automatically lifts a rear blind in the back. Now later on, the 8 Series would have came with an ugly 4-spoke airbag. This one is an early model without it. And in fact, because it's without it, we'll have storage right over here and over here as well. Later on, this would have been an airbag and just a glove box here. We also have storage right over here at the door panel. The vents are very interesting. They continue into the door. And the most quirk of this 8 Series is that, yes, we do have back seats, good enough for children. The thing is, there's no control where they can put down the windows. They have to ask the driver to put the windows down for them, and nowhere else. Not even the passenger side has control of the rear windows. Now, like I said, this is a really nice concept which brings a lot of air into the cabin without these B pillars. And in fact, because of this, that they had to mount the seat belt in the seat. Let's have a look at the engine. And here's the Glory V12 engine. Now this is very rare to have like a V12 6-speed manual for those times, let alone today. Now just to show you how smooth this engine is, I put a glass of water on the engine cover and you can see how stable it is. Now this over here where we're filming at is at an incline. So the suspension and the worn engine mounts, because it's still wearing its original engine mounts, is keeping that glass of water in place. It's just amazing how BMW engineered this car. It's a V12 that has been modified so that is so smooth that you won't even hear it working. In fact, I'm not even going to show you guys the revving of this car because the engine sound that is not there, so to speak. There's only this real deep throat sound, but nothing else. Because this car was actually built to cross continents at ease, at high speed, at long times. So the mileage of the car doesn't really matter because BMW built these engines to last. So reliable that McLaren F1 Gordon Murray actually chose the block of this V12 to be then later on put into the McLaren F1. Obviously that has been more introduced to power than to luxury, but this just shows you that this engine is very reliable. And like any other engine, if it's maintained well, it won't give you any problems. Now, a very quirk actually over here is, this is the washer fluid. The one on the left is to have more concentrate in it because inside you have a switch which tells you you can either do it with normal water from the first container or second water with more concentrate to clean more vigorously, which is I've never seen in any other car, but this has it. And this shows you what sort of detail the engineers went for the 8 Series. Another detail I'd like to show you guys is the hood. You have these cutouts. Now usually with pop-up headlights, they make sure the bonnet ends up in the corners so that they don't have to actually cut the sheet metal. But because BMW wanted to get that low drag coefficient and that angle will mess up with their drag, they actually went to the extent of cutting out the holes through the bonnet, and which is actually nice. Now, what to look out for if you're buying a BMW 8 Series. Since there's a lot of angles going on and different materials, if this had a front-end collision, it would be very hard to line everything. As we can see that on this car, it aligns everything pretty well. Now, I'm not saying if it's aligned pretty well that it might not have damage, but if they went to the detail to get an original hood, bumper and all those parts, it would have been, you know, taken care of pretty well. So look at that area. Also, these cars, if neglected and left outside, will suffer rust around the arches. They also suffer rust if they are equipped with a sunroof at the edge, and around the windscreen you should check also for rust. The area to check would be the pixels on the screen. The part is actually cheap to buy, but it might be labor intensive to change. There is a trick actually to how to check all pixels by pressing these two buttons together and a forward series. I'll just share the how-to on the screen right now. Now this is a very heavy car. It weighs almost 2 tons. Again, BMW was not concerned about having a fast car. They wanted a more comfortable car, more streamlined. So the brakes are not so adequate. So if they haven't been refurbished, make sure you do so. If the car is standing still, what happens is that the fluid gets, you know, water introduced to it, or you might have to change the pumps and lines. So do have a look at those brake lights. So there you have it, the BMW 8 Series E31, a lot of groundbreaking technology, all in one car back in 1989. Would I buy one? Definitely. When I was a young kid, buying my car models when I was around 8, I actually had one exactly like this in Calypso Red. I could have picked a Ferrari, I could have picked a Lamborghini or Porsche. My 8-year-old self went for one of these, and I still have it today. And be nice actually to own one. The lines of the BMW 8 Series is timeless, and what is there not to like with a V12 manual? Now the prices of these are rising rapidly. They still can be held at a reasonable price. Now this specific model is actually for sale, and I think it won't be for sale for long because Malta only has about 2 or 3 on the island. There are 2 V12 engine BMW 8 Series, this one, and there was another one which was in repairs. Not sure if that one ever got fixed. And then there's another V8 model. So if you are interested in buying this specific model, please reach out on the email below. Thank you for watching. Hope you like this overview. Take care.